Well, here we are. Welcome to episode number 3 of the Ethan Alexander Show with your host, me, Ethan Alexander. It is so nice to have you back here this week. I'm sorry I couldn't get this out just a couple of days ago. I've had a very eventful week with soccer. Um, I am still in high school and I do still participate in high school sports. And when I say eventful week, I mean eventful. And I will give you the whole layout. Do I have a packed show for you today? I don't even look. I have some notes. I don't really need them. I know exactly what I'm going to be talking about. It's not going to be all sorts of pro sports stuff like sometimes it is all pro sports stuff. So it's just going to be stuff that's happened to me this week and that has happened in UK basketball. I'm glad to talk a little bit about UK basketball today. Talking about UK basketball is not something I like to do a lot. Not because I don't like UK basketball. I'm a huge UK basketball fan. There's certain things in UK basketball that get on my last nerve, and today I'm going to talk about some stuff that's uplifting me, that's making me a little happier than usual. So that's what we'll get into. First off, I'll let you know why I didn't put this episode out on Wednesday, and instead I'm here on a Friday recording it. Hopefully, putting it out on Friday evening. But if I feel like it's too late to put it out, because I'm going to a high school football game tonight. If it's too late to put it out, I'll put it out tomorrow morning. It's all right. Um, we had games Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. We were supposed to have one today, so this wasn't going to happen today either, and it probably wouldn't have happened at all this week if the game today didn't get canceled because of poor weather. So yeah, we had a game Monday, Tuesday, yesterday, and today. Our off day was Wednesday, but on that off day we had to do some stuff. And did I do anything after? I did what did I did something Wednesday evening, and I cannot remember what it was that kept me from doing this because I think this was the initial plan was to do this, and it's totally slipping my mind. But I had prior commitments on Wednesday, and I cannot remember what they were. Anyways, last Saturday, so today's Friday, almost a week ago, we were playing a game, and I slid for the ball, got a slide tackle, and I actually won the ball. I won the ball, stood up, and I thought I broke my thumb. I was like, my thumb is either broken or it's badly injured, and so I was like, let me off the field. I think my thumb's broken. So I go over there. I sit down on the bench. I'm like, yeah, I think I broke my thumb. And the guy on the bench says, your thumb? Look at your leg. And I look down at my leg, and there's a huge. I mean, it looks like I got stabbed. Humongous gash in my leg. Biggest I've ever been cut by anything before. Didn't feel it. Didn't feel it at all. Didn't feel it when it happened. Didn't feel it when I noticed it. Didn't when I saw it. It didn't suddenly rush to my senses that I'd been cut that badly. But at some point, I had been cut rather badly out there. It was during the slide tackle, but I didn't feel it, and I don't know. But my leg had, I mean, blood was gushing out everywhere, and it was brutal. So I went and got stitches. I got all stitched up. My it's right above my knee. If it was a little bit lower, I'd be really screwed because it would have been on my knee where important stuff is. It's right above my knee and the muscle and fat above my knee. So I played yesterday, very limited minutes, but I think I'll be fine. And I didn't break my thumb. I just tore, and I don't know if you can see it. It's large. I tore a lot of ligaments and soft tissue up in there. So right now we got a swollen thumb and a crippled leg that I'm working on. But it's all right, and I get my stitches out Monday, so we'll be back in business on Monday. As far as the show goes, the big thing I want to talk about today is fantasy football and where I am at the moment. So I cannot remember if on the last episode I talked about fantasy football. I think I did a little bit. Um, I want to delve into it a little bit more because we've gone through week one. We're about to start week. Well, we already started week two. We're about to really get into week two. Um, I think if I remember correctly, on the last episode, I was telling you about my team and how good I was supposed to be. So originally, I was supposed to go 13-2, have the second best record in the league, and be one of the two guys to make it to the championship game. I lost my week one game by 59 points. That's crazy. Um, the guy that beat me, I was supposed to beat by 30. He beat me by 60. That's like a 90-point swing. That's unheard of. And I'll tell you exactly why. and it was a whole downhill. Not a single player on my team, I think, except for Marvin Jones, played good, and he's my flex. So none of my major guys played good. Josh Allen was underperformed. He didn't play bad, but he underperformed. Ezekiel Elliott was awful. He had 5.9 points. He was awful, 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 awful. They barely gave. Well, actually, let me scratch that. He was not awful. They just didn't give him the ball. He didn't have a chance to be anything more than awful. He was awful for fantasy in that they didn't give him the ball, but he wasn't awful in that he was getting the ball and being horrible. He just didn't get the ball. They didn't give him the ball. So 5.9 points for fantasy, that just won't do. Devontae Adams, again, I think it was the same situation where Aaron Rodgers was awful, and he's a wide receiver. Devontae Adams is, and if Devontae Adams has an awful quarterback as a wide receiver, he's gonna struggle also. So he got me like 10 points out of his projected like 23. Um, Again, Marvin Jones put up decent numbers. I think Mike Davis was my other running back, underperformed. Young Ho Koo was my kicker. He hit his projected points. My defense underperformed Washington. Um, who else? I'm just making sure I cover all my starters. I think that's everybody. And if it's not, then I'm missing someone that doesn't really matter. Um, so yeah, underperformed very badly. And then on the other side of that matchup, that he had Tom Brady way overperformed, Rob Gronkowski way overperformed, um, CMC who's going to play great every game, and he even overperformed. Who else? Uh, I think those were the main ones. Those were the main. That was the main money makers for his team, which ended up squashing me in week one. Um, we're so here's our current situation. I'm 0-1. I'm the eighth out of a 10-man league. I'm currently ranked eighth, which is not good. And the at the end of the season, we're going to have to, whoever loses, spend 24 hours in a Waffle House. I know last week we talked about the fantasy football punishments. Well, here are the punishment. The punishment is 24 hours in the Waffle House. Every waffle you eat is an hour off. It's not original. This isn't an original idea, but it is one that sounds excruciating. I really don't want to be there. I don't want to be in a Waffle House at all. I think their food is okay. Their waffles are pretty good, but the people there scare me. They scare me, and I don't like them. I can't base it off I don't like them. The people at Waffle House, especially in the middle of the night, if I have to be in a Waffle House at 2 a.m., I am going to be frightened to an extent that I've probably never been frightened before. I'm trying to think about other times I don't go in haunted houses, folks. That could be the only thing I could think of. As far as scared, I think I would be checking my corners, checking my shoulders at all times because how scared I was. Um, yeah, I don't want to lose. I really don't. At this point, it's not about winning anymore. At the beginning of the season, I was like, I want to win. I want to win. It's not about winning anymore. It's about not losing now, because if I lose, I'm going to have to spend a considerable amount of time in an establishment that creeps me out. Um, so for this week, we've already got off to a very hot start, and that's a completely sarcastic. My tight end, who I missed earlier, Logan Thomas, he actually did hit his projected points in week one. He did not in week two. He's projected like 11 points per week. He hit 9 something this week. And then my defense, the football team, which is an awful, awful name. They need to change that. I'm not going to get in the politics of everything, but that's an awful, stupid name to be called the Washington football team. It's so stupid. It's ridiculous. Change your name. Um, they had okay at halftime they had 7 points, which they're projected to get me 7 points. So at halftime I'm like, we might be onto something. They finished the game with 3 points against the Giants. They had 7 points at halftime, and they finished the game with three against the Giants. Daniel Jones and injured Saquon Barkley Giants. They did win, but barely against the Giants. Guys, come on. Am I just cursed? The 1 week where I think our defense is going to have a ball of a time, we do that. That's ridiculous. It's the Giants. They are horrible. They suck. Why do I keep getting pop-ups on my computer? Oh my God, I'm going to lose my mind. I mean, maybe just maybe on my computer right there, 6 or 7 pop-ups. No, but the Giants are horrible, and the idea that we lost points against their offense makes me want to vomit, projectile vomit, and then look at the vomit, which again makes me sick. It's a never-ending vomit. It's a never-ending vomit succession. Okay, I vomit, see it, vomit, see it, vomit. That's what I want to do after seeing that the Giants' offense made my defense lose points. That's a curse, dude. You can't tell me that's anything but a curse. That's ridiculous. How is a defense against the Giants going to lose points at any point in time in a game? That is horrible. The Giants should not win a game this year, and if they do, it shouldn't be against I. The Washington football team was supposed to have the second rated defense. Now that could fluctuate, but they shouldn't be at the bottom of the pack if they're rated second in the beginning. They're clearly at the bottom of the pack if they're getting torched by any sort of Giants offense. Um, what do I expect? I'm scared. Okay, this the guy I'm playing this week is better. Well, I don't have to say the guy. He's part of 3-1 now. David Cruzwata is who I'm going up against this week, and he has a more higher projected points than the guy I played last week. I still technically have a higher projected, not anymore because two of my defense and one of my players has already underperformed. But he could underperform a little bit on guys too. So at the beginning of this, I had a higher projected points than him, but not by as nearly as much as I did last week, and I lost by a lot last week. So here's what I need. I need Josh Allen to have a big enough game, maybe a couple points over his projected. Okay? I need Devontae Adams to be Devontae Adams. I know Aaron Rodgers can wake up. Okay, it's Aaron Rodgers. He was the MVP last year. I need him to wake up and throw his best receiver, the best receiver in the league, probably the ball. Um, I Ezekiel Elliott didn't get cut, but I took him out of my starting lineup and I added Eli Mitchell, who is the new running back, the RB1 for the 49ers after oh god, Raheem Mostert, is that how you say his name? I forgot for a second. Raheem Mostert got hurt and oh gosh, Brandon Ayuk. They're turning away from Ayuk, and Mostert got hurt, and so Eli Mitchell is the kind of their new running back, and he wasn't on anybody's league. I mean, it wasn't on anybody's team, so I picked him up in free agency, and I'm going to try it out and see how he does this week. And I put him in Ezekiel Elliott's position. Either way, it's a risk. I'm risking a guy. I'm risking a guy in Mitchell who isn't as doesn't have a as illustrious of a career as Elliott, but Ezekiel Elliott had an awful week 1, so playing him is just as much of a risk, especially with the Cowboys offense that likes to throw and not run. Also, Zeke is going up against a better run defense than Mitchell is, so hopefully that pans out well for me. Um, Again, Koo, same amount of points as last time. I'm fine with him getting me 7 points, 8 points a game. Hey, if he wants to give me more, give me more. But for the time being, I'm fine with what he's getting me. Who am I missing? Oh, so my running backs are David Montgomery and Eli Mitchell. David Montgomery put up 18 points on my bench last week. I really would have liked that. I wouldn't have won, but it would have been nice to not look as stupid. David Montgomery, so I put him over Mike Davis. I put Eli Mitchell over Zeke. So hopefully that'll get me a couple extra points. Um, all in all, and I'm trying to think. Okay, David has Jameis Winston, who had a big week 1. He has Kamara, I think, who is Kamara. He's gonna do his thing. Um, his team isn't stacked. It's all right. I think I should win, and I said that last week, and I got smoked. But listen, I'm trying to be a little hopeful now. If we get to week 3, week 4, and I'm still losing, we might have to hit the brakes, say halt, hold this up, and stop everything for a minute and try to figure this out. And I might try to help. You might have to help me figure this out because we're in a rough patch if we're in week 4 and we haven't won a game yet. I think that's all I have to cover with our fantasy football league as of right now. Let me think, make sure. I think that's all. The rest of this show will be Kentucky basketball related because Kentucky basketball is finally waking up. And I know it's weird to say this because Kentucky basketball should be the best team in the country almost every single year, and last year we were one of the worst teams in the country. we're finally waking up. We got assistant coach Orlando back, which is marvelous. He was one of the better assistant coaches. Um, I think Calipari is a bad coach. I think he's a great recruiter. I think he's a bad coach. So having Orlando back to help him actually coach the team, I think will be a big deal. Of course, he was one of the assistant coaches for the 2011-2012 championship team with Anthony Davis. So I think that's a big deal. I think a big deal having Orlando back. Now, recruiting. We haven't gotten a top 5 recruit, I don't think, since Nerlens Noel. Just this week, we got Shaden Sharp, the number 1 player in the world. The world. I mean, I guess it's the world, but the country in high school basketball. Um, and then just the other day, we got Chris Livingston, the number 5 guy. So we got 2 top 5 guys in 1 year. Now, number two guy right now. He used to be number 1. Sharp passed him. Dereck Lively. He earlier today, and this is freaking me out a little bit. Earlier today was 100% crystal ball, which is what the recruiting processes use to like try to determine where somebody's going. Had him 100% going to Kentucky, and we were celebrating like no one's business. We're gonna get Dereck Lively, this and that. He's coming home. He's not from here, but he's coming home. And then I just looked at the crystal ball seconds before getting on here to record this, and it was 50-50 Kentucky and Duke. And I said, hold up. Duke? Really? They had just as bad of a year last year as we did. Maybe a little better, but pretty much just as bad. And they lost Coach K, which in my opinion should eliminate any major recruits from going there in the next few years until they prove themselves without Coach K. Why would he go to Duke? Well, the big thing going to Duke is the number 1 player in the country is going to UK. If the number 2 player wants to be the guy on his team, he probably wants to go to Duke or not the one school the number 1 player is going to. However, and I know this is not the number 1 priority for kids that go to college anymore, if he wants to win a national championship, the best place to go is the University of Kentucky. And I know that's a little bit hypocritical because I'm always talking about how Coach Calipari does not know how to coach a basketball team. However, when you have 3 of the top 5 guys, the number 7 guy who we'll get to in a minute, the number 17 guy, Oscar Sheboy, I think that is how you say his name, and Keon Brooks, Davian Mintz, these guys that coming back from last year are better players from last year coming back. This is a championship team, whether or not Coach Calipari coaches them for a second or not. Just like how 2011, 2012 was a championship team from the very get-go, whether or not Coach Calipari coached them for a second. This team with 3 top 5 guys, another top 10 guy, another top 20 guy, and then we have more recruits, obviously, than that, but those are the big ones. All of our 5 stars, 6 5 stars, 1 huge transfer, and our good players coming back. This is a championship team without any coaching. I know 2015 was too, but come on. Look, you gotta come here, dude. Listen, you have to come to Kentucky to win a championship. We need you more than anything. If let's say he's supposed to commit on Monday. If I were him, if I were Dereck Lively, this is what I would do. I would let Cason Wallace, who's the number 7 player in the country, commit to Kentucky, and then I would commit to Kentucky. You are the final piece of the puzzle. You're the final piece of the puzzle that we need to win a championship, and everyone's going to be waiting on you, relying on you. When you commit, that is going to be such a huge moment in Kentucky basketball history down the road when we win the championship that you will forever be cemented as a University of Kentucky legend. You will never have to worry a day about coming to Kentucky and not being laid the red carpet laid out in front of you everywhere you go. You will be a legend in this state and a legend for the program. You could commit anyway before Cason Wallace and come to Kentucky. But if you at one point had a 100% on the crystal ball for Kentucky and decide going to Duke is your best option, you are going to be hated, especially if we don't win the championship, and especially if y'all somehow win the championship. I doubt it, but if Duke were to somehow win the championship, you would be extremely despised in an entire state of the country. You know how, like, that's a big deal that an entire state dislikes you. There's 50 states, and in 1/50th of the country hates you. I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want 1/50th of the country to hate me. I'd want 1/50th of the country to love me unconditionally, and that will be the case if you come to Kentucky. I can't say the same for Duke. Duke, North Carolina, all the other all the other schools in North Carolina, they're all split different ways, all right? Here you got Kentucky and you got Louisville, and everybody hates Louisville. So you got Kentucky, all right? I mean, I don't know how to put it any better than that. You get a national championship, you're loved by an entire state, you're a legend. You still go to the NBA in the first 5 picks probably and get millions and millions of dollars for the rest of your life. I don't see how this could go any better for you. You have on one hand the chance to have everything go great for you, and on the other hand, not so much, because you could be joining a Duke team for the first time in a very long time without Coach K that has no idea where they're going to go. You totally get screwed over this year, and you don't even get to the draft. We saw that with Kentucky this past year, and we saw that with Duke this past year. That guys that were supposed to be drafted highly didn't even go to the draft because their teams floundered. You're going to go to a team like Duke who doesn't have their all-time head coach anymore, and they're going to flounder. You're going to flounder, and you're going to miss out on millions of dollars. Kentucky is the only option. Come to Kentucky. Cason Wallace, he is as of right now 100% on the crystal ball to come to Kentucky. This is huge, dude. If we can get all these guys, and in addition add Sky Clark, who's number 17, and our guys from last year, I don't see how we don't win the championship. I really don't. And I'm a negative person. I'll be honest. I'm a negative person. But I don't see how we don't win the championship. And I've said that before, and we didn't win the championship. I know. But look, this year, 3 of the top 5 recruits, the last team to do that was Duke with Zion and them, and I think they win the championship if they don't have health issues. I think there's no other option but winning the championship this year. Now, there's the positive, there's the fun stuff. We got all the fun stuff out of the way. Let's delve into the not so fun stuff. Now, it's kind of fun for me because I don't like John Calipari. It's not fun for a lot of Kentucky fans who will die on the John Calipari cross and defend the guy until their dying last breath when they're laying on their bed in the hospital, and they're like, man, I really wish that I had defended John Calipari just a little more. I didn't defend John Calipari nearly enough in my time. That's what they're like. There's a large segment of Kentucky basketball fans that will defend John Calipari till their dying breath, and I don't get it. He's underperformed more times than not. I mean, it's ridiculous at this point, the amount of championships we should have and that we have won in his era. We should have 4 or 5. And I know that's a lot, that's asking a lot, but it really isn't with the talent that has come through the program since he started coaching here. I think he's a fantastic recruiter, probably the best recruiter in college basketball. I think when it comes down to it, he's going to get the best players available. However, if you don't get the very best players, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you have to still coach them. All right, you still have to coach them, and he can't coach. He just can't coach. He's just not an X's and O's coach, and he's just not very good at coaching basketball. He has underperformed over and over and over again, and last year was the antithesis of this. I get last year's group wasn't the best ever that we've had. They're still an NCAA tournament team. No doubt about it. It's not even a conversation. It's not even a debate. You can't debate me and tell me that those teams that were fighting for that 16th seed in the NCAA tournament are better than that Kentucky team should be. You're crazy if you think that. That is simply coaching. That is simply not being able to put your players in the best position they need to be in, and that screws over the program. This year, if he gets the number 1 guy, the number 2 guy, the number 5 guy, the number 7 guy, the number 17 guy, more recruits on the back of that, Oscar Shibwe, who's probably the biggest transfer in the country, and then Keon Brooks, who had a pretty good year last year, coming back, supposed to have a pretty good year this year. Davion Mintz was one of our better players last year. If you have all of those guys and do not win a championship this year, you We have to finally agree to fire Coach Calipari. I know we put him on a lifetime contract. Lifetime contracts aren't real. He's not on a lifetime contract. He could be fired any given year. If he doesn't win a championship with this upcoming team, considering we get all the guys, and pretty much even if we don't get Lively and get everyone else, we should still be the favorite to win the championship. But let's just say we get Lively too. If we don't win the championship with that team, we got to fire the guy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for all of you Calipari heads who defend the guy to their dying breath for no reason, no good reason. What has he ever done for you? He got you one championship. You know who else got you one championship? Tubby Smith. Tubby Smith sucked. He was not a good coach. You know who else got you one championship? Rick Pitino. Rick Pitino got you two championships. Let's talk about that. Tubby Smith's championship was Rick Pitino's team coached by Tubby Smith. All right, so Rick Pitino gave you, let's put it this way. Rick Pitino gives you 1.5 championships. Tubby Smith gives you 0.5. Coach Cal gave you zero point 0.1 because 0.9 of that was Anthony Davis. He didn't have to coach that team. Like I said, he did not have to coach that team. We had Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is one of the greatest college basketball players of all time. I think whichever team he goes to has a very, very, very high chance of winning the championship. Not only that, he goes to a team with other guys that are the greatest players in the country at the time. They were never going to lose the championship. They just weren't. So you know, I wouldn't be discrediting Coach Calipari if he was a good coach. I just wouldn't. If he went out every year and got pretty far in the tournament every year got pretty far, and then every couple of years won a championship, I'd be completely happy. If we had 3 championships right now, I'd be over the moon. Really, I'd be very happy. We should have like 5, but 3 would suffice. 1 does not, and 1 in 10 years. It's been 10 years. Don't forget that. Anthony Davis this season will have played 10 years ago for Kentucky. That's a whole decade without a championship. That hasn't happened a lot in Kentucky basketball. It happened in the 2000s. We sucked in the 2000s. Don't forget about that. We sucked in the 2000s. Didn't happen in the 90s. And before that, I think it happened in the 80s. Shoot, did we win? I think we won one in the 70s. Happened in the 80s. And before that was the archaic ages of basketball when we won most of our championships. Not most, I guess 3, 4. We won 4. We've won 4 old ones, 4 new ones. Yeah. He's got to go. He's been here long enough to prove himself, and he's proved that he's an underperformer. And this year is going to be the antithesis. Last year was the antithesis of that. This year is going to be the exclamation point of that. It's finally time to get rid of the guy if he doesn't win a championship this year. Is that all I have? The Bills lost. I'm a Bills fan. The Bills lost. Not super happy about that. Anything going on with the Utah Jazz? I do not think so. I think they released like Jarrell Brantley, and I know nobody watching this cares about that. I think that's all I got. Quick socials. Follow me on Twitter at 3WindEthan. Follow 3Wind on Twitter at 3WindSports. Follow 3Wind on Instagram at 3WindSports. Same for Facebook. Same for TikTok. We just dropped a new TikTok. Okay, you can follow me personally, on TikTok at 3WindEthan. But we just dropped a new TikTok account called 3Wind Golf. I got 2 of my buddies to help me run a golf account on there, and they work at a golf course. I work at a golf course too, but not nearly as much as they do. And they're putting out content every single day for golf. If you love golf, go check out 3Wind Golf on TikTok, and I'm sure they will be expanding to other stuff soon. I may have said that on the last. I'm just now realizing it that I think they'd had the thing last week, and I think I put that on the last episode too, but I'm not 100% sure. Yeah. Okay. I think that's everything. Make sure to like this video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm excited to be back with the 3Wind podcast this next week. I'm so excited to have the episode, the 8th episode, and finally get back into the groove of things. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you next week.